Okay, good evening or morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. I'm with Joshua here this evening, and we were sort of thinking about, been thinking about this for a while, actually for a couple of months, about doing one video that's focused on the mission and on the purpose of TFTMT, looking at why are we here, and what are we about, and also what would maybe distinguish this as an organization from other church ministries and other church groups. And so we thought the best way to do that would be to read through the mission statement and for both of us to talk a little bit about it. So I'm going to read out the full statement first of all. This is what it says. Theology for the modern times seeks to rewrite and transform religion and its function within all of society. We do this by building diverse, inclusive communities, distinguished by emphasis on education and humanitarian causes. So the first part basically is, if you were to look at how the church today in general is understood by people that aren't part of the church within general society, usually it would be something that's fairly, people that maybe aren't interested, or could be something maybe quite negative. And so people often today pursue and understand the church as maybe something that's quite archaic, something that's quite old, maybe something that's not very relevant. People understand the church as well as something that is unscientific, and something that isn't in general leading society, instead dragging society behind. And what we want to do in TFTMT is show people the value within Christianity, not just for Christians, not just for people who go to church and that, but the actual value and what it offers for everyone, no matter what the individual's belief is. And so how we do this, that's the first part of the statement, how we want to transform religion and its function within society. And then we talk about how we do this by an emphasis of education and humanitarian causes. So the first thing is, here's a method that you could take. And so the understanding of God, first of all, is something that's quite complex. And a lot of people don't really know what God is or what it means to believe in God. And so what we do as an organization is we don't claim to know that there is a God. Instead, what we do is recognize that it's actually quite a complicated thing about who God is, about what God is, because we believe that sometimes by making statements that religious organizations and groups make about the existence of God, about who God is something that's actually very, very complicated and something that's actually very subjective depending on the individual. So what we do is actually take the question of God, who is God, what is God, do you believe in God, do you not believe in God? We take that out of the question, first of all, so that we can have a community of people that that can embrace and accept everyone the way they are. And so what we do instead is instead of looking at the God question, instead of looking at the supernatural stuff, we focus on things that you can see and things that you can do that are valuable for everyone, because we actually believe that that is the essence of what Christianity really is and what religion really is, the actively doing good works and charitable deeds. And so the first part I'm going to discuss, we do this by building diverse, inclusive communities, distinguished by emphasis on education and humanitarian causes. So the first thing that on this statement is about diversity and inclusivity. So we believe in theology for modern times, yes, that religion and Christianity has become probably quite divisive and is no longer something that accepts people as they are. And this is actually a really big problem, because the person of Jesus Christ, when he was on earth, accepted everyone that came to him in the state that they were. And we don't believe that the church today is in general doing that, and the church today is in general being like Jesus Christ. This is shown in a number of different ways. For example, we believe that the likes of the LGBT community, the likes of questions on sex, the likes of questions on science, evolution, and all that sort of stuff, that the church have a box that people must tick and must agree and must fit in order to be part of their church, in order to be part of their community. But then the reality is actually that Jesus accepts people as they are in the state that they're in. Now, we're not saying, as an organization, we don't change what the Bible teaches about topics to do with intimacy, about topics to do with the creation of the world. But what we do see is that there is a need to accept people even if they don't agree with biblical teaching, and accepting people as they are. And that's actually what the essence of Christianity is, in the sense of accepting people as they are. So people have the liberty and the freedom to do whatever works for them in whatever form of belief. Because we believe firmly that is something that Jesus Christ does, and we see in his life, accepting people as they are, so they can be brought into a state of fellowship with God and be transformed. So that's the first part with inclusivity. And then communities distinguished by emphasis on education. And so distinguished by emphasis of education, this means that we understand that the understanding of sanctification and what growth in Christ is not just about being nice to people. It's not just about going to church, but it's actually in the Bible. You see sanctification comes from growing in an understanding of God's love. Paul says in Ephesians in his prayers to the church that they would grow in the knowledge of God's love. And so we see that in order to teach the Bible, in order to teach as a church organization, we emphasize the importance of rigorous education, of academic pursuit of theology as a discipline, not just for people to go to Bible college, not just for the leaders in the church, but for everyone. And so we seek to maybe open up things that maybe are reserved, let's say, for certain individuals. We seek to open it up and to show that everyone and anyone can understand God, anyone and everyone can understand the Bible, anyone and everyone can study. And so that's the first part of our statement. So we believe in being inclusive, accepting people as they are, no matter what their views are in life, no matter what state they're in. They're welcome to be part of the church, and they should be. We believe that the church today is largely, not all churches, but some, don't welcome people as they are. Maybe in word they do, but in action they really don't. And this breaks our hearts. And we believe being like Jesus is accepting people as they are fully for who they are. And then secondly, an emphasis on education, an emphasis on taking the Bible seriously and taking Bible study seriously, looking into the context, studying the Bible for what it is. And so we want to see that within society. We want to see the church not as people who are holding back society, not as people who are moaning and complaining about change, about LGBT community, but instead of people that are seeking to make a difference for others, people that are seeking to be a loving community, welcoming to every individual. So I'm going to hand over to Josh now to talk about the humanitarian causes, and so what we are seeking to encourage within society. So Josh, I'll hand over to you.
Hi everyone, my name is Joshua from Malawi. First of all, I want to talk about love. As we know, our God is love. He first of all sent his son, Jesus Christ, to die for us. So as Christians, we need to show love because our God is love. How can we show this love? We can also show this love. We can show this love through doing humanitarian causes work. If you read the Bible from the book of Matthew 25, from verse 31, we see Jesus is talking about the parable whereby he says, during the last day, you ask us as Christians during the last day that I was hungry but not give me food to eat. I was naked but not give me clothes to feed. So as Christians, we need to take part in doing humanitarian works, because as we do that, we are showing love to others. We're showing love to the poor. We're showing love to the needy. We're showing love to people who cannot find any food to eat every day. So we're going to show this love by doing humanitarian works. One, we can give food to the poor. We can give food to the widows. We can give food to the orphans. We can also give clothes to the orphans. We can also give clothes to the widows. We can give clothes to the poor people. We can give shoes. As we do this, we are doing humanitarian works. And there are also some benefits that we get from doing these humanitarian works. One, during our time of trouble, the Bible says, if you give to the poor, you lend to the Lord. During your time of trouble, when you are going through some challenges, God will come through. God will come in and help you. So it's very important as we Christians to take part in doing humanitarian works. If you read the Bible, we saw here the story about the woman who was helping the poor, Dorica. He was sewing clothes for the orphans, for the poor. And when she died, God sent Pedro. God sent Peter to her, and she was risen from death. That is part of the benefit of helping the poor or doing humanitarian works. Thank you so much.
Brilliant. Thanks for sharing that, Josh. One thing I really liked about how you started that, and I guess it is really the central fruit. And as Paul says about in 1 Corinthians 13, it's the greatest spiritual gift, and it's love. And that is something really important. And I think that a Christian community that is emphasis and distinguished by love, that's fruit of Christ being there, of genuine change and transformation within individuals. Yeah, there's definitely I look at people who aren't maybe religious and stuff, and and would chat to them, and I've had this happened a couple of times actually this week and last week, where they've asked me about TFTMT because I've been sharing about what we're doing and about this upcoming video as well, and these are people that aren't religious at all, and I said to them that so we believe in set aside the question of belief in God. We don't care whatever you say, come as you are. Set aside your whatever your views are in religion or whatever your views are in this. And we say that see being part of a community that's all about just love, just embracing, accepting people as they are. People being educated and then helping other people through the humanitarian causes. And then I said to them that, I believe that's something that everyone actually wants to be part of. And then these people that I was chatting to said, yeah, I know that 100%, and it's just so interesting that whenever you set aside the big questions of the day that have been discussed in the church, like what is God, what is belief in God, do you believe in God, do you not believe in God, LGBT, sex, whatever it is, whatever the questions and issues are why people don't come to faith, or science as well, evolution or not evolution, whatever. Whenever you actually set that aside and say, this is a community of people, you come as you are in whatever way you are, and we believe in being active in the world and doing humanitarian causes and working together with people. I haven't talked to anyone whose face doesn't light up that. Anyone who's not a religious person. I genuinely think that all people and everyone are desiring that there's, as St. Augustine says, that there's a God-shaped hole in everyone's heart or something along those lines. And I do genuinely think that people who are religious or aren't religious are seeing this, that people desire to be part of a loving community, and desire that fellowship with others. Yeah, and I think as well, one thing is that it's sort of like what we're doing is, I feel like we're voicing things that maybe the church hasn't been voicing before. We're questioning maybe the approach within the church that maybe sometimes people say 50 years ago, it was a very different world. And maybe the answers that the church was providing for society at that time were the best answers. But what I think has happened is that the church has become so focused on the church, so focused on religion, so focused on the answers, it's actually even become legalistic. And it's almost as if the church has been fighting against our culture for so long that the actual foundation of love that it's built upon, that it's almost as if it stepped off that foundation. And so what we are doing is, and it's really crying out and interceding, for the church and for people and for our societies, and saying that, look, as the church, we need to actually recognize that our role is love. Our God is love. And so if we can't accept someone as they are, if we're telling someone, no, you have to change this in your life, you have to change this in your life, or else you can't serve and be part in this, then we're not showing love. It's legalism. It's saying that you have to come to God a certain way instead of actually, Christ accepts you as you are. And I guess that's what my heart, is, trying to think of the right way of wording this, but that's what I long for. It's seeing people recognize, doesn't matter what I think about God. I don't believe in God. I do. Doesn't actually matter. What matters is actively serving and being part of a loving community, because that is the covenant. That's the New Testament covenant. It's all grace.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? And I'm praying that more and more people are realizing this, I think. And I'm certainly finding I'm not posting as many videos at the moment intentionally, because I'm wanting to give people time, to sort of learn, and I'm wanting to kind of catch up with other people on this, but people are catching that and are seeing that, and that's something that is exciting. So yeah, our plan is, as you guys know, with our link with Open Doors Church, we're wanting to the TFTMT merchandise. We've got some. I'm actually just realized there I'm wearing one of our tops tonight, but we're currently getting in a number of different orders and sort of thinking about that. We would love to even be selling those products, and involved in different ways to maybe, even fund a trip out to Open Doors Church and be involved in that work. We're also as well interested in providing shoes for the orphans, particularly at the moment, because I know that that's a need as well. And so we're looking into that. But yeah, I would just say really to anyone watching this tonight or tomorrow or whenever, that, you are welcome to be involved. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what your views are. I was chatting actually to someone who is a man who's, Josh, but a man who, who's gay, and he was saying he got kicked out of his church, because of that. And it's just like, no, like, you're accepted as you are in your lifestyle and whatever. Everyone is welcome, whether you're an atheist and you do believe in God or don't. We believe in serving other people. We believe in showing Christ's love, no matter who you are, and you're welcome to join us. So brilliant, yeah. Cool. Well, thanks, Josh, for your time tonight. I'm going to end the recording now. So thank you, everyone, for watching.